In 12 months, he lost his title, his trainer, his marriage, and his reason to get out of bed. 3 years later, 18,000 people paid to find out if he'd found a new one. I'm Cole. I've been telling you stories for a while now about pressure, about the people who stay when it costs them everything. This one's different. This one sat in my chest for 3 years before I could tell it right, because it's not about winning. It's about the 1,000 invisible days between losing everything and hearing the bell again. Let me take you back. 1994. Marcus Cole, 24 years old, 6'3", 231 pounds of speed disguised as power, heavyweight champion before his 25th birthday. The belt came fast, magazine covers, a penthouse he never furnished, a trainer who called him son but only when the cameras were running. 19 wins straight. He thought the ceiling was a myth made up by people who stopped climbing. The first punch I didn't see coming wasn't in the ring. It was a Tuesday. My trainer, the man who'd held the pads since I was 17, walked into the gym with a contract from another fighter. Bigger purse, younger legs. He said, "Nothing personal, kid. It's the business." 3 weeks later, I lost the belt to a southpaw I'd already beaten twice. My right hand never landed clean. Not once. The crowd went quiet like someone had pulled the plug. Inside 6 months, the architecture of his life collapsed. The belt gone, the trainer gone, the money bled out through handlers, a cousin's bad investment, a lease on a gym he never opened. By February, he was selling the penthouse furniture to cover the last month's rent. The phone stopped ringing. The sports pages moved on. Marcus Cole became a question nobody was asking anymore. You want to know what rock bottom sounds like? It's not dramatic. It's not a movie scene. It's a Tuesday morning, 4 a.m., staring at a heavy bag in a public gym that smells like bleach and regret. Throwing combinations at nothing. No coach calling time. No corner telling you to breathe. Just the sound of your own fists and the question you can't stop asking. Was the belt the fluke, or is this? 14 months in the wilderness. Then a name surfaced, whispered by an old cutman who still owed Marcus a favor. Raymond Lott, 67. Trained 3 world champions in the 70s and 80s. Retired after his last fighter died in the ring, a cerebral hemorrhage in round 11 that Raymond blamed on himself for not stopping it sooner. He lived alone above a hardware store in a town nobody drove through on purpose. He hadn't touched a pair of pads in 9 years. He came to my door on a Thursday. Big kid. Eyes like a dog that got left on the highway. I told him no, told him twice. I said, "Son, I buried the last man I trained. I don't have another funeral in me." He didn't argue. He just sat on the step outside my shop for 3 hours in the rain. Came back Friday. Saturday. By Monday, I understood he wasn't asking me to make him champion. He was asking me to teach him how to fight again. That's a different question. The first 3 months, Raymond wouldn't let Marcus throw a punch. Not one. Footwork, balance, breathing. How to stand so the weight sits in your hips, not your shoulders. Marcus, a man who'd knocked out 19 professionals, was shadowboxing like a 14-year-old amateur. And when he complained, Raymond said the thing that broke something open. You learned how to win before you learned how to fight. That's why losing took everything from you. You won fast because God gave you hands like hammers, but hands don't carry you when the legs go. Hands don't help when a man's figured your timing. I'm going to take everything you think you know, your speed, your instincts, all of it, and I'm going to bury it. And then we're going to build something underneath it. Something that doesn't disappear when the crowd does. You understand me? We're building a foundation under a house that already fell down. Pause. I want you to sit with that line for a second. Building a foundation under a house that already fell down. Think about whatever you're grinding through right now. The project nobody believes in, the skill you're rebuilding, the version of yourself you lost somewhere between where you started and where you are tonight. Most people don't rebuild, not because they can't, because rebuilding means admitting the first version was missing something. And that admission, that's the price of the ticket back. 18 months with Raymond. No cameras, no press. A garage gym with a cracked heavy bag and a speed rope held together with electrical tape. Marcus ran the hills behind the hardware store at 5 a.m., not for cardio, but because Raymond said a fighter who can't suffer alone will always fold in public. He sparred with local kids half his size, learning to move without power, to find angles he never needed when his right hand solved everything. Month 22, something shifted. I stopped thinking about the belt. I stopped replaying the loss. I was just in it, the rope, the bag, the hill. Raymond had this thing he'd say when I finally moved right, he'd just nod, once. Didn't say good, didn't say nice, just a nod. And somehow that one nod was worth more than any belt I'd ever held. Because it meant you're becoming something that can't be taken from you, not by a judge, not by a promoter, not by one bad night. 3 years to the month. A promoter called, not a big one, a regional guy who remembered the name, offered a slot on an undercard, 10 rounds against the current number 4 contender. The odds makers put Marcus at 8-1. The headline in the local paper read, "Former champ attempts ill-advised return." Raymond read it, folded it, and said, "Good. Let them think you're buried. Buried things grow." Round 6. The contender is faster than the tape showed. Younger, hungrier in a way Marcus used to be. A right cross opens a cut above Marcus's eye. The old scar splits like it was waiting. Blood runs into his vision. The crowd shifts. He can feel it, that wave of pity from people who come to see a ghost get put down gently. His corner is shouting. Raymond is not. Raymond is just watching, arms crossed, that same still face. And Marcus has a choice. The old me would have loaded up, would have swung for the knockout because that's all I knew, one big right hand to make the blood not matter. But Raymond didn't teach me the right hand. He taught me the feet. So I made the hardest choice I've ever made in a ring. I stopped trying to end it. I gave up the thing I was famous for. I moved. I circled. I made him miss. And every time he missed, I took a piece of him he couldn't get back. It cost me my pride. It saved me everything else. Round 10. The contender is gassed. His hands are low. Marcus doesn't knock him out. He outworks him. Jab, jab, move, jab. The decision is unanimous. And when the announcer calls his name, Marcus doesn't raise his arms. He walks to the corner, leans on the ropes, and looks at Raymond. The old man nods. Once. That's it. That's everything. 3 years. One nod. So here's what that costs you and what it gives you. Your first version was built on talent. Your second version is built on truth. And the truth is, anyone can hold a title. Only someone who lost one knows what it actually weighs. So the next time you're staring at something you used to have, a skill, a streak, a version of yourself that broke, remember, the rebuild is not the consolation prize. The rebuild is the real thing. Everything before it was just the rough draft. If you've been grinding through something nobody sees yet, this one was for you. The bell rings twice. The second time you're ready. Subscribe, a new story like this every evening.